pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, all. This begins our May monthly meeting for the Borough of Delaware Water Gap. Open with the pledge, and now we will open the floor for public comments for matters regarding that are on the agenda. For matters that are on the agenda. Yes, sir.
It says here to discuss water EDU's price increase. What exactly does that mean?
So what that is, Tim, it's a price assigned to a dwelling unit, an apartment unit or a
I
house.
understand what an EDU is.
Right, so the last time that price was calculated was 2012. We want to update that price, and that involves our engineering company. So it takes a look at our assets, what projects we have down the road, and the price that is assigned to that EDU.
And that's only for someone coming in.
That's right.
Purchasing an
Right.
EDU.
Okay, because the last time the price increased, I know Marty had mentioned he had some kind of idea in mind, and you guys kind of just brushed it aside. But, I mean, I think this would be logical when you go to do the next price increase.
This isn't a price increase on the water rates. This is a price increase on EDUs, like new construction homes.
Okay.
Right, it's not, it doesn't impact,
Well, I think you should consider when you do go to do the next price increase on an EDU for the water usage, that you should probably lower it to 24,000 gallons.
I
That
think
was-
it sounds like you're
that's a
talking about two
sep-
different
I-
things.
I am.
Two
But
separate
I'm
issues.
just saying, in the future, when you go to
okay,
increase that rate.
we'll consider that.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I mean, this is not that, just so
Okay.
you know. Yeah.
It's for new construction.
Right,
Okay.
And for those who don't understand that exchange, the EDU is like your allotment of usage for units that are coming in for new construction. It does not affect your water rate that you're paying now.
Okay, I get that. But the way it's so vague on the agenda, I didn't know that was.
that's what it is.
So-
It's not,
Well, I'm
it's,
glad we could clear
right.
that up for you,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Snow.
much.
Is there any more comments on matters regarding the agenda? So he wants to-
Good evening, pardon me, this is Donald Nagowski. I noticed on the agenda, an executive session is, discussion regarding 122 Mountain Road.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not sure if you consider that an agenda item or something we should talk about later.
How much of that can we discuss outside of
I
it?
think he just wants to make that the deliberation among council and discussion could be at an executive session. He wants to make
Sir,
comments.
we'll open the floor, you can make any comment that you want regarding that matter on the agenda.
Well, thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Don, this is Deb. I just explained to Lisa, just so everyone else can hear what I just said to Lisa, was that the council will deliberate or discuss it in full in executive session, but that you can give your client's position.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking a few moments to talk to me. My name is Donald Nagowski. I'm an attorney, I represent Mr. and Mrs. Newell, the owners of 122 Mountain Road. And Ms. Huffman and I have been discussing a matter for a bit of time, something that I do want to make sure that is the attention of all council members. And really that, ask your assistance is going to be required to correct the, current state of the situation. Do I have the ability to share my screen and show photos or no?
Allison?
If not, I can.
I don't think
describe
so.
it.
I don't think so, we're not set up for that at the moment, sir. I'm
And
sorry.
I have copies of all the photos that your clients has sent me, so I can share them with council as well.
Okay, thank you, and I can, send them individually. Basically, the short version is that, Yeah, again, this is a property in which there's a steep, mountain across the street, and Mountain Road itself slopes down steeply from left to right. So there's a lot of grades involved, a lot of, natural water flowing, both from across the street and then down Mountain Road. It just, water goes where water wants to go, according to gravity and nature. We believe it's apparent to me and our engineer that there was some attempt by the municipality to help direct water, away from properties, not my client's property, but other properties on that side of Mountain Road. I don't know that to be true, but it seems to me that that's what was going on from what was constructed. What was constructed was a 4-inch deep swale, which is a downward, area to carry water, and then about a 4-inch, berm or curb was constructed as well on the other side. So you go down 4 inches, then you go up 4 inches, so you have a total of an 8-inch differential to drive over. Most passenger vehicles that are not SUVs, big souped up SUVs, can only handle 5 inches. So the solution that was constructed across my client's driveway, they have to go in and out over this every day, and their guests have to go in and out of it every day. It creates a situation where you're scraping bottom. You can't properly accelerate or decelerate into the driveway or out of the driveway, which creates a dangerous situation. You're going to be bouncing, you're going to be losing control. It's a T-bone accident waiting to happen. That's why no one anywhere, I've never seen anything constructed like this. I do land use work, I work with developers, I work with builders, I work with engineers. I've never seen anything like this. It's not done, it's not the PennDOT spec. I know, the municipality is not subject to PennDOT jurisdiction, but the state still publishes standards which all municipalities aspire to follow, and absolutely their own. And what we're asking is that a design be implemented, a simple, inexpensive fix that would still preserve the intended effect, which is carrying water down Mountain Road without going into the properties on that side, but allowing safe transit, which every homeowner has a legal right to, into and out of their driveway. There is some question where the municipal jurisdiction starts and where it ends. I can't share my survey, but as you know, a lot of these properties from deeds of the early 1900s, your property line goes to the middle of the roadway. It's then subject to a declaration, a subdivision declaration, or a homeowners association declaration. We pulled that declaration for this property, but have not yet been able to locate the map. So it's possible that this is even constructed outside of the municipal jurisdiction. But whether it's outside or inside the municipal jurisdiction, it is not to a safe standard. The proper way to fix this, and again, it's not expensive to do, is to ensure that the technical term the engineers use is a depressed curve. I don't know if the municipal engineer is here or can comment on that, but the idea is you cannot have more than 5 inches of fall in the swale and rise in the berm in order to safely transit. If Ms. Huffman can share some of these photos with you, you'll see it's like a roller coaster. You can't build it this way. It's unsafe and needs to be fixed before somebody gets seriously hurt. The actual fix is fairly simple. On the driveway side closest to the house, 8 to 10 feet away from that berm, the berm has to gradually rise. So it's not a big bump, it's not a speed bump followed by a ditch, it's a gradual rise up. At the driveway, that berm can be no higher than 2.5 to 3 inches tops. If you go out and measure this right now, it's not even uniform in height. It goes from 3 up to 5 inches in some places. You can't have a speed bump across the driveway. If you lower the berm by grinding it down to 3 inches max. And then you raise the swale up to no more than 2 to 3 inches, so that the total of the berm height and the swale depression is no more than 5 inches. And then you taper on the driveway side by putting some blacktop to raise it up slowly to eliminate the speed bump effect. And, water is still conveyed the way you want to go. So in all possible terms, I urge you to work with Ms. Huffman and I to come up with an engineering solution, inexpensive to the town, but it very well can save lives. Somebody will have a serious accident.
Mr. Nadowski, let me stop you there. First of all, let me correct a couple of things that you may be under the impression of. This project was part of an overall street and road rehabilitation for our borough. It was not done on a one-on-one instance to annoy or dissatisfy one particular resident. It was not done by non-professionals. It was inspected by our engineer. It was done by a professional contractor. We have all seen the hump that is not, in my opinion, a dangerous speed bump. It is consistent with road maintenance that is done all over this borough and possibly the neighboring boroughs. You have to also understand that we are responsible for Pennsylvania stormwater management, and that repair, that work was done in accordance with stormwater management, not to annoy or dissatisfy your resident, who we in fact had never seen. I had never seen these people prior to this complaint. I had no idea who lived in that house. So the work was not targeted at them. We have spent a great amount of money trying to repair and rehabilitate the roadway here in Delaware Water Gap. We all live on the mountains. We all live on the hills. We all have a difficult egress into and out of our driveways. It was done as a matter of stormwater management. In addition to that, once your clients complain about not being able to go straight into their driveway because they actually expressed some driving difficulties, we had our engineer and our entire road and building maintenance team out there to look and try and remedy the situation. So then we have incurred not only the cost, which was completed with the help of state grants, but we've also incurred other costs having our engineers and the professionals come out to review the work. And what you say is a small amount or a minimal cost to our borough is subjective, because we are a borough of less than 700, if less than 800 people. And everything that is done here is done by volunteer. And it is done by taxpayer money. And we spent that for water, stormwater maintenance, not to aggravate your clients who are here maybe once or twice or 3 times and a few times in the month, to the point that no one even knew who they were. So it was not done to aggravate. We have been working to find solutions to remedy the situation, to make it more comfortable or compliant for them. Now, there's an estimate that has been provided, and I think it's something that your residents should bear the cost of, as opposed to the borough, since the work was not done wrong. But that's just my opinion. We have not discussed it. We have not voted on it. That's my personal opinion. And your clients, in the meantime, sir, in the meantime, your clients have carried out a campaign of absolute harassment of this office, council members, the mayor, and anyone that was in electronic or earshot about the situation. And we have at every moment been working to try and remedy their discomfort. It is not an inaccurate or misdone road work. The road work was done with contractors and professionals, and it was not done to aggravate your clients. So I just want to let you know that. We will discuss this again with our engineer and the rest of council. I'm one of 7. We'll discuss what we can do to help remedy the situation. But that what you call a minimal cost for a borough of less than 800 people is subjective. You don't know our pockets and we don't know your pockets, but what you consider minimal is something that the rest of the taxpayers here have to bear the cost of if we pay for it. So your
Well,
clients need to know that because they stood in the road and told me that they can't drive straight into their driveway, they come across the grass. That is a driving issue. That is not a hazard issue caused by the Borough of Delaware Water Gap. But we will discuss this in our meeting.
Okay.
We will confer further with our engineer, the
Can I
professional.
please address what you said very quickly, please, a couple minutes? I understand what you said. I never said anyone did anything intentionally. That was your suggestion. Whether my client is there one day or 1 week a month, they pay taxes, they have the right to same as every other taxpayer in the town. And again, you're entitled to your opinion, but neither you nor
You're
I
right,
are
sir, but you
engineers.
did make a statement
And I
that we
can
did
tell
that
you
work to
that
satisfy
an
one
engineer-
resident.
So, ma'am, can I please finish what I'm saying? You had your chance, please give me mine.
No, you having your chance because you've gone over the 3 minutes that we allow for public comment, but you can go ahead and finish this.
Thank you. I understand what you say, and I'm actually suggesting, a solution that can save the taxpayers a lot of money in the long run. The reality is, you're not an engineer, I'm not an engineer.
We have an
I would
engineer.
do this, okay, well, I would only, I can tell you that I reviewed this with engineers who design projects for PennDOT. And they're telling me that there's no way that this complies with PennDOT spec. This is dangerous, it's not common. If it's common in your town, then you may have larger problems than we're talking about here. This is not typical, it's not standard, it's not to spec, it's dangerous. No matter how many days a week or a month or a year my clients are here, this is not proper engineering design and it's not safe.
Mr.
I ask
Nordowski,
that
thank
council-
you for your opinion and that you have received and formulated with the people that you've talked to. Thank you very much. We will continue our meeting and we will discuss this in executive session. Thank you very much. Any other comments regarding anything on the agenda? Yes, Mr. Snow. Tim,
Mr. Snow is my father.
yes, Tim.
Discuss motion, fire company coverage, dual dispatch. It sounds like they're already on the dual dispatch. I talked to Jason, he said that they were already on the dual dispatch. I hope this is the last time they put on Shawnee has put on dual dispatch and never taken off again.
I asked for it to be added. I was told that there was a request to the control center for it to be on 24/7 dual dispatch.
Yes.
Right now, it's only Monday through Friday,
Right.
6 to 6 or
Yeah.
something like that. And I know that it takes action of council, so I asked for it to be on, because
Okay.
I was notified by the control center that that request had been made.
Yes, and I actually talked to Jason from Shawnee, a couple nights ago, he did say that they were back on dual dispatch. I don't think you should ever remove them.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
That's why I
Yeah.
put it on the agenda,
Address
so
it.
that we could, because I don't think they are.
Is there something else
Yeah, I
regarding the
have
agenda?
something.
Yes.
So discussion motion for the formation of a joint committee with the fire department and borough council to discuss the deal with the firehouse renovations. Just a couple of comments, I guess, more than anything. I mean, it's been 2.5 years, and, you know, now a committee's being formed. You, Lisa, brought this to us like in February. We still don't have money from the fire department for the engineer.
They have provided a letter of allocation of funds to deal with that now.
To deal with the engineer.
So the formulation of this committee will be done, small group, to move along with to get it in motion, the bidding, using that money, and paring down the repairs to the point that we can get a move on
So
with the project.
any monies for this project is coming directly from the Delaware Water Gap Fire Department
They
and
have
not the
provided a
borough?
letter of set aside for their capital improvement.
And for the LSA grant, do they need to lay out the money for each phase to get reimbursed?
That's not how it works. You have to actually carry out the work and then send the paperwork into LSA in order to be reimbursed. So say they spend, $30,000 for engineering and everything is done to the satisfaction of LSA, the paperwork is submitted, they reimburse $20,000 for the engineering. You know,
Okay.
that sort of thing. So we want to get this moving on, and so the best way to do that is to work with the committee. I've enlisted the mayor and asked him to, you know, set me on the straight and narrow to help work with this.
And do we know who's gonna be on the committee for the fire department now that Howard's gone?
We haven't just
Howard-
opened the meeting, I don't know yet.
Howard just told me that, I believe Jim Ferrari, probably Smitty, if Smitty's
Definitely Smitty.
willing. And he mentioned another person, but I said, my advice, at least what I think we should do is keep the group small. So we can have at least 2 from council, 2 from the fire department. That way, the bigger the group, the more bickering, the more, you know, when it's just 2 from each one, I think it would be more
So
productive.
the 2 from council would,
Who-
are you counting as council or?
Well, I don't know. I-
So him and you, I hope.
We haven't gotten there yet, but that's what
Okay.
we've discussed, so
Okay.
we'll see if that's fine with everyone else.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, yes, Tim?
Just reiterate, no money is coming out of borough funds.
That is our plan. And that's why we're having committee to move things along. And
That doesn't give me a lot of,
I think,
No, it doesn't.
I mean, we can talk about it more when we get to that part of the thing. I was part of a conversation where, and Howard was on it, and I actually suggested there be some sort of representative council and a representative of the fire company who are talking to the contractor or things like that. There is a concern on fire company's side as well, that borough council could say, we approve this change order, but the fire company doesn't have money to cover the change order. So I think both groups need to work together to make sure that, like, if there is a change order, the people who are gonna carry the dime for it
it's them.
we understand that, but that they are also part of the decision to approve it if they're the ones who are gonna have to pay out of their funds for it. So both parties need to be a part of the communication so everybody understands what's going on and everybody is part of the decision making.
and that's the plan.
Okay.
Any other questions before I move on with the rest of the meeting? Tim, one more, what?
I don't wanna spoil what, Larry has to present for the cemetery,
Uh-huh.
but I just wanna thank you. He's got an awesome deal for you guys.
I thought you guys were gonna present.
We appreciate awesome deals,
I
so
thought you were doing it.
you'll get to
No,
speak
it
again
doesn't
when we get to that point.
Bob do it.
It doesn't.
I can't because I have to speak before.
No, you can speak on, if it's on the agenda, you can speak on it.
We'll have Bob do it.
Well, because you're part of the committee. So let's move along so we can get there, Tim.
And we can get home
Thank you.
sometime tonight.
Okay, superintendent's
I
report.
warned you, Deb.
Superintendent's report.
That's Lisa, treasurer's report.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Forgive me, Tim threw me off. It's his fault. If everyone's had an opportunity. You wore off on me too, all of you. So if everyone had an opportunity to review the treasurer's report, are there any questions with the treasurer's report? If not, I'll ask for a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make
I'd
the,
like to move that we approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
And Derek second.
I had one question.
Yes.
Under police equipment supplies, there's a negative number,
Yes,
-6,372.
yes, that's there because we moved the funds from the police tax fund into the general fund, and that is the way the accountant told me to do it. 'Cause it has to go towards police supplies. So we're in the negative for police supplies,
Okay,
okay?
yep.
All in favor of approving the treasurer's report?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Superintendent's report.
Meeting minutes.
Oh, Motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from April 1st, 2024.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's all on the treasurer's report, so I think.
Everything's,
you-
yeah, that's
you
what I
can
was
take
going
that
with.
stance.
No, you're right, that's part
Okay,
of it.
so you
There was
approve
a
all
motion to approve the
all
treasurer's
the items
report.
under the treasurer's
Right.
report. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Superintendent's report. Thank you, I appreciate it.
We think it's your turn.
Yeah, am I good now?
Yes, sir.
Alright. I've been kinda busy, been doing all the, lawn mowing all around town, weed whacking, clearing up all the roadsides, cleaning up any, snowplow damage, cutting brush back, cleaning up Buzzard Park and Shell Park and putting up some signs and stuff that have been knocked over. maintenance wise, 350, no problems. 550, batteries are starting to show signs of needing replacement. Not necessarily right now, but something to consider in the future. Backhoe does have a coolant leak. Not sure where that's coming from at this time. I gotta dig deeper into it. And the lawnmower will need a new deck eventually. It's just starting to fall apart, and I'm making repairs to it as things come. So that's something that we have to consider at the end of the season. I'm trying to plan to get through the season. So that's it.
All right, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, who's been doing the garden out here in the front? I see a lady doing it.
It's
It looks
Ally.
good.
Oh, that's Ally doing that.
Ally Carey.
Oh, she's doing a
She's doing a good
phenomenal
job.
job.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give credit where I didn't know who to thank.
Yeah, we'll have to, I'll have
And may I ask
Cal?
how much, a question? Do you happen to know if there is a yard sale banner downstairs at all? Have you seen anything like that?
I have not seen anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
Didn't we lose it?
We did, but I wasn't sure and I thought I would ask, maybe it got put back or whatever,
Right,
so.
right.
I think it's
That
lost.
was the one that was lost last year, right? That's too bad.
If you should happen to find it, just
Yeah,
let
I
me
mean,
know.
I've had that torn apart and I haven't
Okay.
seen anything like that, so I
Okay.
don't think it's down there.
Do we need,
Alright, thank you.
do we need one?
It's in 2 weeks, it's kinda,
It's too late.
yeah.
Mayor's report.
I just have a couple things, the 6/11 closure debacle. 2 meetings ago, well, to back up a little bit, each month we've been having a meeting, sponsored by Congressman Matt Cartwright. There's, myself and Mayor Fisher from Portland, and then there's elected officials in between both towns that meet on the closure. The idea is to keep the ball rolling. As you know, it's been down for almost a year and a half. At least this way, we can find out what's happening and get these two entities to work together and make something happen. At the last 2 meetings ago, it sounded pretty good that we may have a single lane opening, and I hate to throw out dates, but at that time they were talking late June, maybe mid-July. And that would help a lot of people. We got a lot of commuters going back and forth, having to hit the toll bridge all the time, or take the long route around. Emergency services is an issue, so, we went to last meeting. Allison has been kind enough to keep notes, and she has notes if anybody wants to read them. And our council president has been present as well. PennDOT was supposed to turn in a modified permit to begin the work, so that we can at least be open by, at least single lane open by June or July. At the last meeting, all of a sudden, we needed to talk to the Eastern Tribal Lands and have their response on this thing. Even though it's not in their jurisdiction, they have nothing to do with it. The Park Service doesn't seem to wanna move on the permit until they hear from this entity. And I believe they had 30 days, I think it was, to comment. So that just sets us back even further. And so I let it know that we're not satisfied with that. I think we've waited long enough. The fact that we're waiting on an entity that has no jurisdiction in the area, I understand maybe letting them know what's going on, keeping them abreast of the project, but if they don't have any skin in the game there, I don't see why that should hold up the project. So, the next meeting is scheduled for May 8th. So far, it hasn't been postponed, so we'll be here for that. We'll hear something new. I'm hoping that maybe Eastern Tribal Lands will make a response, and then we can move the project forward. But right now, it's still a debacle. It's still, a tough thing getting a federal agency and a state agency to work together to make something happen there. So I can update at the next meeting, but I'm not very excited as how this thing is moving. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, have they hinted at any reason why they haven't moved forward more quickly with the 1 lane open?
So
if it's just opening in 1 lane, what's holding up if it's just roadway and not anything else?
It's the possibility that more debris could fall off the mountain. PennDOT won't open a lane and they said they keep telling me they won't find anybody that will sign off that the road's safe enough for passage, even in single lane, until that work's complete. The Park Service is going back and forth saying, I don't think you need to take as much rock. PennDOT says, I think we do. Everybody else is saying, why don't you get up there and take a look and maybe pry on a few, maybe you don't need to, who knows, until you actually get up there and get to work. The problem is get these guys to work. So, right now, the last thing was the Eastern Tribal Lands deal, getting a response from them or an approval or whatever, and then we can, they can go forward. Yes, Bob?
On the subject of keeping the ball rolling, is apparently become more common knowledge that the Bridge Commission is leaving the gate open much, much more than they ever have before. So these people that see the sign to go down Waring and back on Oak are getting onto 80 East, despite the signs as don't. The barrier is up, and the one that I've noticed the most are these pickup trucks with the 3-car trailer behind it. And the other thing that I've noticed about them is many of them have a little red flag on the back of the trailer where normally a license plate would be. In the cases I've seen, ain't no license plate under it.
They go by at least once or twice a week.
Really?
Yeah, those are the ones that don't go on to 80. I'm saying there's a great number that do get on to 80 despite the sign at the entrance. 'Cause that has been open, weekend evenings, during the week,
It's always open.
day and evenings.
Okay. I can talk to the Bridge Commission about why they're leaving the gate open. I'll also talk to.
Right now,
Okay,
it's not being left open by the Bridge Commission. The state police use those gates, they leave them open.
oh, okay, all right,
And we have a hard time keeping them closed because we have both the Park Service, PA State Police, and New Jersey State Police using those gates at all times.
are you with the bridge, sir?
Yes, sir, I am one of the sergeants.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, thanks for filling us in on that. I don't know, yeah, I don't know why, usually they're pretty diligent, but I keep.
We are, but we are right now are working shorthanded down there because we are getting ready to go tollless.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah. Okay,
So we're gonna be losing a lot of people in the next year.
you probably just have maintenance there, I would imagine, after that.
Basically maintenance and a few of the officers.
I can talk to the state police as well, and I'll talk to our chief and see if maybe we can get some monitoring in there.
I can bring it up to my people
That'd be great,
tomorrow.
that'd be great, and after the meeting, I can give you my information if you
No
wanna
problem,
get this
sir.
back and forth, so.
I'll give you mine also.
Thank you for that.
You want, sir.
Thank you.
So, as far as, to move along, let's see, the next meeting I said was May 8th at, is it 1:30 or 2?
1:30.
So we'll meet after that. I can update on social media if people really want to know something, or you can contact me directly. But I don't expect anything earth shattering at the meeting. We did pick up the Poconos this month. 20, I think it was 20 people showed up. It was incredible. I think we picked up about 25 bags of garbage. I didn't really think we were that dirty here. I thought everything was pretty clean. Most of the stuff that we see is, as you're going out of town or back up on the back of 611. But it was a really great day. We went down, after we finished, we met down at the bakery. I told Sue this year I'm buying the ice cream, cause she always wants to not let me buy the ice cream. So to get around that, she bought lunch, so. I can't win with her, but, it was a good time, and I wanna appreciate everybody that came out. I appreciate, Sue Cooper and Charlie Cooper for their donations, so. They do one in the fall as well. I don't know if, we don't usually do it, but if it's possible, we'll put that together. And just FYI, I did one wedding last month, and I went to a mayor's reception that's offered by the Chamber of Commerce down in Lehigh Valley. It brings all the mayors together from the tri-counties, and it's a good way to network. It's a good way to hear from other mayors and the problems that they're having, and how they tackled it. So it's something that happens every year, and I try to at least go to it just for that positive information. And that's all I have.
Sir, do you wanna talk about the police report, or do you just want us to read it?
There is one thing on the police report that I'd like council to know about, that the chief is working on. If you see under activity where it says edit parking tickets for printing new books, so we're getting low on parking ticket books. The chief has suggested that some of the language be changed on those parking tickets. And also, he would like to talk to council about raising the fine. Currently, the fine is $35. When we've written people up on Mountain Road, they're like, oh, it's only $35? I pay $100 to park the parking in the city, so $35 doesn't seem to affect them at all. So if council's agreeable and that's something they'd like to do, we can discuss raising that rate. But the chief says he would like to talk about that and just changing a little bit of the language, especially on bill paying. We can pay online. We did have somebody come in here and dump a bunch of pennies to pay for a parking ticket.
You're not allowed to bring change in anymore.
So,
On the news circuit.
Allison took care of that, so, paying online may eliminate that kind of nonsense, so. If there's any other questions, maybe I can
Legally,
answer if
they have
anybody
to
has.
take the
Are
change.
the rates now sent by ordinance, do we know?
I believe they are, they're all, and that part of the ordinance tells us where parking is allowed and not allowed.
So we have to alter,
may
amend
have to-
amend the ordinance.
I have copies of Stroudsburg, so I can send them so folks can see what other.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We have a trail camera?
We need one.
We used to
Actually,
have them. We used to have two. I worked with the police to get them up there.
Yeah.
Problem is the batteries die and the National Park doesn't have time to keep going changing them, and I couldn't reach them. So, so I think we could probably get some new ones maybe.
You mean you couldn't
because, yeah,
reach them?
I couldn't reach them.
Oh,
No.
I thought you meant the art service, you couldn't reach them.
Oh, no, I
You
couldn't
literally
reach the
couldn't reach
camera.
them.
I couldn't
Oh,
reach
okay.
them.
Where are
But-
the cameras? Where are they?
I put them with their, they let me go with them, and then they said, when you leave, we're gonna move them. And I said, oh, because they didn't want anybody to know except
know where they
them.
are. Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
because there was a lot of thefts up there.
Yeah.
So, they didn't want anybody to be privy to where they were. But I couldn't reach them when they put them where I saw them, so I don't know where they are now.
Speaking of that, someone vandalized our new kiosk that we put up to help the business owners and information about Borough. Beautiful, nice new kiosk. And there's nothing to steal, they just busted the lock on it and screwed it up.
We also had a break-in at the train station.
Train station.
Oh, really?
Like vandalism, yeah.
Okay.
So I was talking with Randy, we'll probably just try to purchase some trail cams. you know,
Put them under surveillance, put a sign up that you're under
It's
surveillance.
unfortunate that those things happen, but.
So next week, fire department report, Mr. Ike has left. We'll move on, emergency management, Mr. Ike has left.
Yeah.
Engineers report, we'll move on to that.
Okay, I don't have anything new to report. I do wanna remind council that the DCV multimodal transportation grant is due July 31st if they wish to pursue that again for the Mountain Road pedestrian safety project. And there are other grants that are available, and I have attached that list to my report.
Okay, and it's due, that one's due July?
July 31st, so there is time.
Yeah, we'll think about that one, yeah. I'm so tired of being rejected. I really am. Okay, zoning officer, Mr. Mantra is not here. Solicitors report.
I think most of the things that I have are going to be dealt with under different business, so I can update at that time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll move on to new business. Discuss motion to sign the Portland Contractors Agreement for our water management.
So we have a renewal 3-year agreement with Portland Contracting to continue their service. I strongly recommend that we renew it. It's a 3% annual increase for a 3-year period. Same things are working really well right now. Our repairs are down quite a bit. They've been extremely, knock on wood. They've been extremely responsive. I can't say, I mean, we've been working together a lot, and it's been a very positive relationship that we have with them and also some other boroughs as well. So I'd like to make the motion to renew the Portland service contract for, that was presented to us for the next 3 years.
Second that?
Well,
Any
Charlie seconded.
Yeah.
Charlie did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then wait, and everybody's seconding it, okay. It's been motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed.
Great.
Okay, discussing a motion for the cemetery tree removal estimates. Tim, would you like to explain for the committee?
Tammy
Tammy thought that was way too amusing.
We got 4, estimates.
Yes.
2 of them were from last year, and they were for not a lot more, but considerably more for less work than the last 2. But I'm told that the one current one was just withdrawn from.
Yeah, Tom Bender, Terry actually told me, pulled his for whatever reason, I'm not sure what it is, but.
But
so-
we have an offer, somebody offered to take 14 trees down, chip up the brush, and I think Bob was gonna get rid of the logs. They're gonna store them in the back of the property for the time being. 14 trees for $11,500, so we're saving $500.
You saving me.
We're saving
Everybody's saving me money tonight. The guy on the camera, you're saving me money. Everybody's saving me money.
Thank you.
I don't have any money.
Thank you.
So are you, so
I make a motion.
as a committee, you can't make the motion. As a committee, are you all satisfied with this particular estimate of
So-
11,500 that you received?
So what you have in.
Just like to say something quick, that, on that estimate for 11,500, the other estimate was 12,000, that got pulled back, so they're within $500. But they are using, a crane to take down some of these trees because they're that big, and with the apartments there, and this is why, for 14 trees, 2 of them are definitely, massive, that are on the line, and there's 8 or 9 more that are on the line at least. And then we're also getting the 2 maples out by the front road, by the stone that keeps messing up our stone wall. So, I mean, for 14 trees, for the amount of work we're getting done, it's the best prices we've gotten so far.
It sounds like it. I'm constantly cutting trees, so if you could send them by my house when they're done. So you have zeroed in on an estimate that you're willing to accept. I have to let you know that the invoice, once we vote on it, the invoice has to be submitted to the Borough of Delaware Water Gap
Yes.
in order to pay for the work. Are you ready to make a motion to accept?
Does council have any?
We do then.
Okay.
Yes, the second,
Go ahead, Mike.
Wayne
Who made
seconded.
the motion, I'm sorry, I missed
Bill.
it.
Bill made the
Oh, I
motion,
didn't hear Bill. Okay.
Wayne has seconded. All in favor of accepting the bid for tree removal at the cemetery?
Who
Aye.
placed the bid? Who's the?
The
Yeah.
bid is, who is the
It's
contractor?
Mountain
Mountain.
Tree Service.
Yes.
So I think it's important just to note, so in your packet here, you have 4. One was withdrawn. The other 2, there's trees on the estimate that you're about to move on that weren't on the other 2 estimates, and those other 2 estimates are way above what we could even think about.
So you're getting more.
So we're
for
actually
less.
getting more for less. Those trees, as Bob said, they'll be cut down, shredded, the logs will be set in the back of the cemetery. As Bob said too, the crane, we have to work with the apartment complex, cause they're actually gotta empty out part of the parking lot and bring the crane in and crane them out from the apartment side. So it's quite a job, it's a big job for this, for this amount of money. I think we were all shocked when this estimate came through. I'm very happy to see this, and the fact that it was $500 under.
What about insurance? Is there an issue with
We'll
insurance?
definitely get insurance, we'll place the apartment complex.
Yes, and all I would need to know is how you guys are gonna be additional insured plus certificate holder, just so I can give him that information if you guys decide to move forward.
I'm listening. I was looking at the estimate to see if it said anything on it about insurance. You're wanting to know if we wanna be a certificate or a holder or
Or both.
additional?
Usually certificate holder and additional insured is standard
Yeah.
in my line of work, but
We'll go with the professional.
I would say you would wanna do both.
I would say both.
It's
yeah.
both, okay.
If you,
When you.
Okay, so, we've heard a motion, we've heard a second. Yes.
I'm just curious, so do the other bids include like getting rid of the tree trunks? I'm just like, that's 14 trees, I'm not really familiar where they're going, is that gonna be like a headache later on? Is it just like, oh cool, we'll take them for a cheaper price, or?
No, they'll be cut up into log lanes and stacked in the back of the cemetery. And we really had two options that the group was discussing. Either we would just cut them into firewood and then try to give the firewood away, or maybe even sell it by the truckload and make for the cemetery as a fundraiser. Or Bob had suggested that maybe he has a dumpster business as well, we can throw them in the dumpster. And I think he knows somebody that takes firewood, so.
maybe we get a couple bucks out of them there too, we're not,
Yeah.
some of the trees are garbage.
Yeah.
They're not insurable.
Yeah. So there's maple in there, there's.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna be like a much bigger headache, cause it's like,
No.
just a pile of wood for no reason.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good plan, cool.
Yeah.
If you mill, we have walnut and cherry.
He's selling it at curb right now. Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of the cemetery, we wanna thank you very much for that, that was a huge help for us, big concern. As you know, we had the trees fall in the back and they hit the building, and that started this entire mess. And This takes care of it, and we just wanna thank the Borough Council for helping us out on that.
We do what we can. Okay, next on the agenda is to discuss the shade tree ordinance and committee members. This is item, Councilmember Ian, you can discuss it, but we will actually have a formal discussion in the work session. We'll table it to the work session, but if you want to describe,
Sure,
please go ahead.
that sounds fine. So we decided to reinvigorate the Shade Tree Committee, to start planting some of the trees around the borough. You might have noticed we have a pretty good urban forest around us, and part of that's because of the work that the Shade Tree Committee had done, starting back in 1991. Well, they haven't really been doing anything for about 15 years, and there's a number of openings, and there's some tree maintenance that needs to be done. So we decided to resurrect the Shade Tree Committee. So at this point, Howard Ike was on the committee, but he will not be able to be on the committee, so we have 4 members that need to be approved, I think.
Well, what we need to do, because you've given us a lot of information regarding the Shade Tree Committee, prior ordinance and suggestions for new, and we wanna bring this to the work session to discuss the parameters of that. So before we approve anything, we need to have an overall discussion on what this looks like, and then we'll come back with it
We can
for the
do
next
that.
meeting.
So what everybody has in their packet up here today is, we reviewed the old ordinance. The old ordinance is pretty unwieldy. It's multiple pages. Stroudsburg's ordinance is 8 pages long, has been vetted by attorneys already. We want to adapt that ordinance, which we'll discuss at the next work session, by making some changes in that ordinance and perhaps adopting that as our new ordinance.
Okay.
That's what the plan is.
And as to explain how the process goes, we'll have a discussion on reinstituting the Shade Tree Commission. And if we agree upon that and move forward with it, any suggestions on what an ordinance would look like would go to our solicitor to work on. We don't write ordinances,
And
so.
Deb Huffman had turned us to the Stroudsburg ordinance
Yeah.
and said, you can use this as a model.
Yeah, and I will say, one thing that Shawsburg does is that they have some stuff in the ordinance, and then they reference a resolution, so that some of the information can change more easily in the resolution than it can in the ordinance. You're not going back to the ordinance
Okay.
all the time.
Okay, we'll have a formal discussion of that in the work session. So next on the agenda is to discuss the water EDU price increases.
So Lisa, Missy and I talked before the meeting.
Okay.
So we have follow-ups already in place. So, her company, I forgot what it would have been called 12 years ago.
Boucher and James.
Boucher and James, okay. They had, they were the ones that actually, I probably put the ordinance together along with the price of the EDU, so that's gonna be recalculated.
Okay,
And so she has a contact person that she has to talk to.
so you'll work on that?
Yeah.
Get that, okay, thank you. Discuss and/or make a motion for the formation of a joint committee with the fire department and the borough council to discuss and deal with the firehouse renovations. We discussed this for a moment. We want to formulate a joint committee, and in discussion with the mayor, as he mentioned earlier, we want to keep it small so we can move along with the project and work with the fire department company to get it done. Hopefully, whoever the new fire chief is, and possibly their treasurer, and I will be on the committee. The mayor will be on it. In fact, I would ask that the mayor heads the committee, and we can move along with what we need to do to get bidding processes carried out and get the renovations rolling.
Howard did admit to me before he left, Smitty is gonna be interim chief at least for now, so.
Okay.
They do have a chief in place, so.
So we'll make the assumption that that will be the 4 people that we would have on this. I'd like to ask for a motion to form this committee from the council, or is there any questions on that? Of what we just proposed? So would someone like to make a motion to actually?
Make a motion to form a committee between the council and the firehouse.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Can I make another suggestion?
That was just a motion to form a
To
committee.
formulate the committee.
Okay.
Is that maybe there also be a agreement between the two entities, kind of laying out how this is going to work, so that it's clear in writing that the borough is not undertaking any costs other than that, but also that there will be no change orders approved by the borough without the consent of the fire company, like something in writing where the parameters or the responsibilities of each entity.
We can do
is-
that when we get together with their treasurer and them and.
Yeah, just so that everything that's
We're
been
clear
said
on
out loud,
how
it's
we're
very
going to
clear
do
that
it, clear
everyone
on how
knows.
we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
We can do that, we can work together with that. Okay, discuss motion for fire company coverage dual dispatch, and that was discussed as actually changing it to 24.
Yeah, what was, Gary Hoffman from the control center reached out to me and indicated that, Chief Ike had asked for Shawnee to be put on dual dispatch 24/7. And he reached out to me because those directives usually come through from, council has to approve them. So right now, Shawnee, the last thing council approved was that Shawnee was on dual dispatch, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. No, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And at autumn, and also at any time when there was a fire that involved people inside, entrapment. So the request was made by the fire company, the control center, for it to be 24/7, but I thought they thought that direction needs to come from council.
So if we make the motion and we pass the motion, do we have to send something?
Yes.
I can email Gary, that might be sufficient email from me. If he wants a letter, then we can get a letter together.
I feel like we just emailed when we made the change.
I think I told him
Email.
last time that it was approved at a
Yeah.
meeting of council, and that was sufficient.
Okay, so how about a motion? Does anybody make a motion that we extend the dual dispatch coverage?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Ian made that motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Charlie second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
I'll email him now, and then double check before we leave tonight.
Okay. And next, on old business, we're up to old.
Wait, before you get to old business,
What?
well, it's just something either you skipped or it didn't come up yet. Because not only gonna have to replace a council person, but an EMC person as well. So we need to make sure that gets put on the agenda for next month.
Well, that is new business, isn't it? Yes,
Yeah.
thank you very much for your administrative assistance.
To be,
Well, if Jamie hadn't taken Shawnee off, we would have been fine right now.
to be clear, just because it wasn't on the agenda, that Howard Ike
He just gave the letter tonight.
effective today, resigned as a member of council and a member of the
Emergency
management
emergency
coordinator.
management coordinator. He just presented the letters
Yeah, we
tonight.
noticed that when he walked out.
Yeah.
the
And then
door.
within 30 days, council has to appoint a new someone to fill a seat.
Yes,
And that will be, June meeting will come before that 30 days is up, so.
okay, fantastic. So,
Are you making motions on that tonight or no?
No,
No,
we
no.
don't have to until the June meeting, we have time until the June meeting, because we have 30 days
Yeah.
from the date of resignation.
We haven't accepted his resignation. Right.
Oh, please do that, as a favor.
Quickly.
so do we need to do that at the June meeting, or?
No, I mean, because
In order to do it, we have to accept it now?
it says the vacancy is not created until the date that the resignation is accepted by the majority vote of council, quorum of council, or the effective date, tender date, whichever is later. But you have to accept a resignation no later than 40 days after it was tendered in writing. So you could,
Accept it now and work on,
Could we amend the agenda?
two things. One, because he gave it tonight, it's either at a meeting, the effective date, or at a meeting when it's accepted. So you could wait until the June meeting to accept the resignation, because that's within the 45 days. And then you would have until July to fill the seat.
okay, perfect. June meeting, it is. Thank you so much, Solicitor. Okay, now we're on to old business. And we have been provided a draft of a fireworks ordinance. Thank you so much for all of this work. And I think we need to all have an opportunity to go through it. If anyone has looked through the whole thing? So how about we look at it, review it, and discuss this one at the work session? So we'll put that on the work session. But thank you so much for that, Solicitor.
And then the next one is the Building Code of Appeals. Stroudsburg and East Stroudsburg both are okay with us joining them. They did tell me that. We have to amend their intermunicipal agreement, which I have worked on because I have their version of it. I've sent it to their two solicitors to review before I send it to us. Make sure that they're okay with it before.
So you
guys look
amend
at
it, give it to them, and then it comes back to us, and then we accept.
We have to approve it by ordinance as well, but if they're okay with it, they've already said, Stroudsburg and East Stroudsburg said that they would approve an ordinance allowing us to be part of their joint building code of appeals.
Fantastic. That saves us a board that we have to formulate.
We should have members on it, though.
Okay, next
I
one
thought
is
there was
you
someone
two.
who thought they might be willing to be a member, but he's no
He
longer
stepped
a member.
out.
4 Shepherd Court update.
Mr. Anderson in the topic.
Mr. Anders is here. What a lovely.
The judgment has been filed with the Court of Common Pleas. We finally got a certified copy of it, and I have filed a motion asking to assess damages. The judgment from the, MDJ court was that it was $1,000 plus $500 a day, which could be significant sum of money at this point in time. The hope isn't necessarily to get a fine in that amount, but to get her in court and realize how big the fine is and that she will do something. And if not, then council can discuss other options that they can take.
Okay. And
Mr. Anderson.
When was the judgment? So what kind of money are we talking about?
Oh, judgment was like last year sometime, spring of last year.
so it's
it's been a
piling
year.
up. It's piling up.
So, when you drive by now, we got new covers on some of the piles. I mean, it's not gonna protect the lumber, because the lumber's already, or whatever's
Yeah.
already rotted. And the possibility of rodents and stuff is getting greater. And we have neighbors with little kids. Yeah, and it's, they're opposed to it. They work in the city at night, so they're not here. But it's really, it's bad, just very bad. And you know, I would send the borough council a letter like I did with the fence, but one lawsuit's enough right now. So, but.
One at a time. has Mike been back up to see if possibly there's another infraction another zoning infraction?
I can ask him on Friday.
I mean, there may be something else in the ordinance, given that it's how long it's been sitting and the danger that it might be creating.
But basically, we're waiting on the judgment to be.
Well, it's just a way of trying to force her to, like, deal with the situation again, pull her into court and have to stand before a judge. She didn't come last time, so maybe in the court of compli she will. If not, then council can talk about whether they want to do something about remedying it themselves and then happy to go after her for the money.
The Yerk is not falling apart. I mean, originally it was covered a certain way, and now that cover's gone to the wind. And it's just, I don't even know what covering it now, but, it's a disgrace. I mean, it really is, so.
They hold up so well in Mongolia.
They have steps in Mongolia, we don't have steps here.
If only.
Well, not to mention too, that it's actually bringing down the value
I
of the
understand.
homes.
I understand.
And that's really the concern.
We're gonna try and do whatever we can.
Well.
We're trying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anything else? The Gulf Station Inlet, why do I have to worry about that Gulf Station Inlet?
You don't wanna stay for the rest of it?
No.
Thank you.
I have to get home, we gotta get up early tomorrow.
There's drinks afterwards.
I've been missing those.
I call Marshall's drink.
This Gulf Station Inlet,
Yeah.
It's one of many inlets that are collapsing in the borough, part of our stormwater management system. So it's our responsibility. And you should have a estimate in front of you.
Yeah, there is an estimate, it's from last year. I checked the costs.
it went down.
It did not, but it did not go up that much. I would say no more than $4,000, so.
No more than how much?
4,000.
But this would be something that would go out to bid.
It would have to go out to bid and, yeah. The issue with it was that it's in the PennDOT right of way, so.
I don't
You
understand
couldn't
it.
just, the borough couldn't just go in and change the inlet top. They have other items that PennDOT wants corrected, including those ramps that were a big headache years ago.
Yeah.
I don't even, I mean, unless you want the history of that.
No, I remember
but-
the ramps.
So you have the two ramps, you have pavement, and you have box. So that increases all the. work that needs to be
$4,000 or
done.
so.
Well, $45,000, right?
I'm so glad the cemetery saved me $500.
You're welcome.
So we have to,
Wow.
we have the details on, we have to bid it out.
Mhm.
And we,
Yep, yeah, you have to bid it out. There are, I mean, we had to create PennDOT plans, so I have to look at them. But
Okay.
there are plans that could be used, maybe with some tweaking, for your construction for bidding.
okay, we'll have to just find the money, pull it out of our ears somewhere.
What do we have in liquid fuels? We had 50-ish?
Not, there will be, we have 24 coming, I think.
Right.
There's reporting problems, so it's like a couple months late, and then I think there's 24, off the top of my head, let me look at the.
We'll look at it, we'll have to, we have to
We have
figure it
about
out
50-ish
before we
once we
go
get this
into
year's
the
allotment.
bidding process. Figure out what it is and where it's coming from, but thank you so much. We'll be in contact.
Let me know.
Roof repairs, does anybody do this rubber roofs?
Yeah, does anybody know anybody who does rubber roofs with rocks on top? I've called 4 different contractors, and 3 of them don't work on those roofs, and the one that said he would give an estimate, hasn't come through, and that was April 3rd.
When we had the really, really bad windstorm and rain, we had severe flooding in the front of the building, and it caused all this flooding and the exit light, and there was other things, and the alarm system was messed up because of the water coming down. And the gentleman said that he could do the repair, nominal amount, and just has not been able to get him to come back and contact us. So if anyone knows of anyone that does rubber roof repair, we are seeking.
Anybody, Bob?
Possibly.
Bless your heart. You should come to meetings more often, Bob.
Bob, let me know, okay?
That's what, I'll talk to you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, we need that help.
Lisa, you think I'm mad? You think I'm mad?
And then I'll separate both of you.
It seems to be a trio back
There's
there.
something going on in the back row, and I think we need to break it
It's
up.
always in the back of the class.
Yeah. Oh, sir, yes. Don't get with them.
Yeah. I'm curious, so say if your contact doesn't work out, like where do we go from there? Should we like start brainstorming an idea of like, do we reframe or another regular traditional roof on top or something? Like, I mean, we can't just keep looking for people to do rubber roofs.
We have to find somebody to repair that roof. That's the
But
bottom line.
yeah, I don't know.
If we have to go into a major overall roof repair, it is something that we would have to work on budget-wise for the following year.
Sure.
Or once I'm out of office. Whichever comes first, but it's not something that we can just do on an instant. We will have to do the research and have to figure out what our you're right, we have to find alternatives.
Sure.
We will then have to pursue the alternatives.
Okay.
But all of that comes with figuring out how we pay for it too. So right now, the gentleman gave a really good synopsis on how he could remedy that and fix it and redo the edging of it and the flashing or whatever it was, and then he ghosted us and hasn't come back. So maybe tomorrow he will call, but we were definitely looking for other solutions.
Sure.
So anything that you can think of. Yes, Mr. Resnick?
You might check with the Castle Inn. Somebody did their large rubber roof a few years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'll give, Frank a call,
Do you want-
thank you.
You wanna call
Oh, are you,
him? I can text him.
okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Is there next is the stormwater management ordinance.
Nothing new on that.
Nothing on that. We continue on. Cherry Valley Road Waterline Project, are there any updates on that, sir?
I sent an email to council regarding that. Letters were served on the remaining 3 property owners by constable. That did get a response from the one property owner who went back to engage her attorney and who has said that she likely will sign the easement. But she's willing to sign it. She had a question, which I got answer from Derek and sent it back over.
So that's 1 out of 3.
The other 2, nothing. So I think you have to, are gonna have to go with a taking, which means you're gonna have to get appraisals for the cost of that. Before we just got estimates, but you have to make an offer of just compensation at the time you file a declaration of taking.
I thought we did that,
We didn't, we got a opinion of value from McEwen, not an actual appraisal, because the appraisals are thousands of more expensive.
Okay.
And we thought by giving them that value, that might be enough to move people along, but it's not.
So what is that called? What do we have to get?
We have to get an appraisal so that we can then file a declaration of taking. Because at the time you file a declaration of taking,
You have to say the
you're
value.
you're taking it with the filing, so you have to make an offer of just compensation at the time, which means we have to know what it's worth to say what it is that we're offering.
So are we at the point of needing a motion to get the appraisals done?
I think so, but I think you've already approved that
You
process.
approved that already? Okay.
Yes,
Okay, so then we
so
just
it's
need to
just
carry it
time
out.
to
I think we need to authorize you to.
pull the trigger to carry out on what else you've already approved. And I did also speak to, because those properties where the taking will take place are in, at least one of them, is Almond Taser in?
They're all in
They're all in Smithfield. Because of that, I have talked to Ron Karasek, cause they will have to, with Smithfield Township, they have to do a resolution authorizing us to do that, because the property's not, they're fine with that. I have the necessary resolution I need to send over to them.
Okay.
So we could authorize you to do whatever is
Yeah,
required
I think
to
you
move
did
forward.
authorize it at a point in time, so you can just tell me that, just to go ahead and do
Please
it.
move forward. Please move forward.
Okay, will do.
Please do. Firehouse renovations, we've already discussed it. We're formulating a committee to work with the fire company on that. And, we'll try and move along with that. Oversized trucks. That's on the agenda because Allison had 2 meetings, one I sat in on with the gentleman from PennDOT's, let me get it right. Pardon me. I should have kept it. What's his name, Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Okay, Greg Fisher of the Pennsylvania State Police, not PennDOT, Commercial Vehicle Safety Motor Carrier Program Administration. And we met with him telephonically because I've been writing and harassing everyone that I normally do about the oversized tractor trailer trucks that are coming up the road, tearing down the sign every week and destroying the roads. And I also were saying that it was a public safety issue because even if they open up one lane, we still won't be able to get out because of all these heavy trucks that are coming down. They're oversized. And I said it on that meeting, and actually to pass that on to the mayor and the police chief, because that gentleman indicated some other remedies, advanced signage, which the mayor has worked on in the past, and also that our police chief could stop and ticket them for violating the signage that exists now. Not so much weighing them, but violation of the signage for coming in here. So, Mayor, did you have anything because that's actually your ticket, I just set it on it with Allison.
So as you come into the town and you hit the intersection there's a big sign there that says tractor trailers over a certain width are not allowed to come through this way. That rule applies all the way to Portland. One of the issues that we were having is, as if we would write a ticket going this way, it was upheld. Any tickets coming this way were not. And the reason for that is because the sign on the opposite end of this one sits right at the point of the gap. And the magistrate said he didn't think it was fair to ticket these guys coming this way because they didn't have a chance to turn around. There's no place for them to turn around. So they were committed by then, which is fair. So after some heavy pushing on PennDOT and heavy pushing on Rosemary, I actually was able to get another identical sign put up now down in the Portland area. So now anything coming this way, we can ticket. I wish there was a way to keep them from coming this way, but they're going to do it if they, especially if there's an issue on Interstate 80. So we have the ability to ticket them if we have an officer on duty. And I'm told that it's a $400 fine, and we don't have to share that with Harrisburg. That's a fine that we can keep here at the borough. So giving the new information that our president has just handed out, I will be contacting Mr. Fisher along with our Chief Fisher, and we'll talk about more and better enforcement and maybe some other opportunities to stop this. What's probably going to happen is when there's a single lane opening, my biggest concern is now when there's a hiccup on Interstate 80, what's gonna happen? They're all gonna try to get down through here, through that single lane opening, and you know what that does to our borough. It shuts us down. We're gonna have traffic backed up all over the place. So it's a concern. I thank Allison and our president for speaking to this gentleman, and I'll certainly make contact with him and we'll get on that.
Thank you so much.
Can I go back to the firehouse renovation?
Sure.
I had received a phone call earlier in the week from some folks at the fire company. They were meeting with Mackenzie Strunk from Senator Brown's office. And I think there was just some confusion on the part of the fire company regarding what we were looking for in relation to that letter. And I think that's how we ended up getting the email from Jim Ferrari regarding those funds. But during that conversation, Ms. Strunk stated that she thought that there should be the possibility of able to get 10% of the second grant towards engineering fees. That was the second motion that council made at that special meeting, was to attempt to try and get 10% of the second LSA grant and 10% to be towards engineering fees. Allison did reach out as was directed in relation to that motion, and we did get a response back from them stating that they just need it could be done at a staff level approval. Formal copy of scope of expansion request on letterhead, detailing how the engineering funds would be used, and a copy of any estimates we've had for engineering costs. Which I think we have the bids, and then it would be a letter similar to what was sent last time. I think council's already taken a vote to approve that. Just wanted to confirm that someone's gonna need to sign that letter so we could get it out to DECD, and that would give us more money towards engineering costs.
Okay. Removal of the water tower, have you moved it yet?
Bob has a question.
It's still there. I solicited some quotes just to get some, background information on what the worst case scenario would be. I have not had a response yet. I'll continue to pursue that though.
Yes, sir.
Well, since it's like in your backyard, can you make it into a sculpture?
Pardon me, I didn't hear that.
Since it's in your backyard, or your side yard, can you make it into like some kind of a sculpture?
That would be an option.
Or some creative Airbnb.
Swimming pool, there you go.
Swimming pool, yeah. Has there been any, we have the Ford F-550 on the old business, any?
I'll touch on that real quick. Callum is going to reach out to Koch and ask for a report out on why they said it wouldn't pass inspection in the next time it's up, so that we can
See what
present
can
that
be
with
done.
council. Yeah, so we'll have that for the roads committee meeting, and I'll see if I can make it to the work session that's the next day to fill you all in on the situation with the F-550.
Thank you. All right, committee reports. Water, anything else?
Yeah, we just got very good results on the latest PFAS testing. So that's, for you guys not aware of it, PFAS are the forever chemicals. All municipalities are required to do quarterly testing for 2 PFAS numbers. Federal government dropped the allowable levels down to 4 parts per trillion. We've been blessed in that both our test results are non-detects. So that's, we're really, we're pretty lucky. So those results. So once we have 4 consecutive quarters of our numbers being below the allowable levels, and they go to then they go to annual testing.
Okay. Budget and finance, nothing to report right now. We did do our quarterly meeting, and we're still as broke as we always were. Billings have been coming in with taxes, so it was really a light meeting. It's the first quarter. Bills have not been paid yet, so there's nothing, exciting to report from the review, but we went line by line and did review our budget. And we're on target because it's the beginning of the year.
And you got an extra $500.
Yes, thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
much for giving us money that we didn't give you yet. Personnel, nothing to report. Sanitation, nothing happens there. Roads and building maintenance, other than the sky falling,
Yeah.
and any assistance that we can get
Nothing that wasn't addressed in the agenda.
already. Okay, Parks and Rec, nothing. Special projects. Economic development,
Yeah, I got a few. Well, the kiosk, as you mentioned, someone broke in to steal a flyer, and, it's real renegades out there. So hopefully we can get a new lock to replace the, busted one. And, it's filled with flyers right now of all the exciting activities coming up in the next month or two in Delaware Water Gap. There's actually no room in it right now.
wow.
But we have a few coming down because events have already happened that we can replace with other stuff a little further down the road. I reached out to Adams Outdoor, and they have graciously agreed to give us free advertising on their billboard for the next year.
Wow, great.
And they are actually starting to post this week. So,
Of the,
we've got 4 going up. They're actually similar to last year. One is hike, and paddle, and outdoors here, and then the other is shop, eat, here, this exit. And then the other two, we have the, Founder's Day, that'll be going up. It might delay a little on that one, get it closer to the time. And there also is the yard sale, but I do have a question on yard sale. Last year, we had a rain date for Sunday. Is this year 2-day yard sale?
It's 2 days, yeah.
It's 2-day yard sale, or is it a rain day?
2 days.
Okay, so
No
I gotta
rain days,
clarify
just
that
yard-
one with
Yep,
them.
it's just 2 days,
Yep.
the whole weekend.
But they'll start running those this week, and I guess anyone who's been traveling eastbound on 80 has noticed a very nice get off in Delaware Water Gap sign.
Yeah.
I don't know who came up with that, it might be the Pocono Mountain Visitors
I think it
Bureau or
was the
something.
Visitors Bureau.
They did, okay. So thanks to
That's
them
nice.
for that one, that's a nice one too. And so it's good to have those out there. And then, Eileen and Kai and myself will be meeting this week for our, meeting for May.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Friends of Delaware Water Gap.
Well, since the cemetery gave you back $500.
You wanna borrow it
I
back?
would like to borrow, no, every year, unfortunately, this year, we're not gonna have a training. That's it's already been, said. But, we are still planning on having the craft and art show down on Waring Drive. And every year we put porta potties down there. Friends is not the richest, and we haven't really had any, fundraisers quite yet to make any money. And I was just wondering if maybe the borough.
We need porta potties.
We'll pay for the porta potties.
Okay, we
You wanna
use
know what you have in the account, cause I have it here.
Yeah.
Is it okay to go to tell you now, or?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, there's $702 in the account right now.
Can any of that be used for porta potties?
They usually, like, we usually get 2 of them. We can get one in a wash station, which I don't really care. I will talk with Jim Delaria too, cause I know he knows them and he might be able to get us a little break. But I think last year it was like $400.
400 for 2?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe it was something to that effect anyway.
Okay.
I know the price went up,
We
but,
used to put one at the train station, but
yeah, but since they're not gonna have a train down there, we don't need to we just need them for down, at the craft
Get the
shows.
estimates and speak to our borough manager to
Okay.
make the arrangements for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Open space and trails.
They had a meeting last month for the first time in a long time. Cindy Fish, I guess, is in charge of that. I was at that meeting and, we found out that the Liberty Trail is complete from Liberty Park all the way to the pedestrian bridge in Portland now.
Really?
Yeah, it's done.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was good news. The other thing that, we found out is that it's gonna cost a tremendous amount of money to put the trail between Portland and here. And probably it's gonna have to wait until, PennDOT decides to redo 611 through this corridor. Apparently the wall on 611 is falling and the road is gonna need to be replaced. And at the time that they do that would be the best time to cantilever a trail off of the new wall.
I actually was wondering, when all this was closed, I thought, well, wouldn't that be a perfect time to go ahead and put the trail there, but you're saying it's more.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be closed again at some point when they.
Yeah.
That riverside of the road is separating from the mountain side of the road. I mean, it's right down the middle, it's pulling away.
It's falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
right down the middle of the road, they gotta redo the whole road.
They have to do the whole road, and at that time, we definitely wanna get that trail put
Right.
in.
The trail put in on the side.
Right.
The plan is currently, you could do it up to the end of Slateford pretty easily. They're talking about converting the 3 lanes out of, Portland into 2 lanes plus a bike lane or transit lane for people. And then when you get to the road that goes down through Slateford, just call that the trail, and then you
Just
come
go
out,
around, so
and then
you
you
go
got
around.
issues. Then you got issues when you get to the end of that.
Yeah.
Including right-of-ways with, the train. But they think that that's gonna be doable, because, they're not anticipating the railroad is gonna wanna do anything, on that side there. Apparently, there's enough room for 2 tracks in parallel there, which I didn't realize. And I guess if they're going to do, commuter rail, they have to separate the freight from the commuter lines.
Yeah. Sir, yes.
Ian, I was curious. So we have, I was kind of in the same boat as like, oh, it's closed, you know, something could actually like shake out for the Liberty Gap Trail. So like we're missing this opportunity, right? They're saying like next time. Is there something we can do to put pressure on the PennDOT, like make it like official until we can't on both sides, and the part that we need to cantilever, so when this opportunity comes, there's like more of a public push, like the trail's almost done, we just need PennDOT to make sure they cantilever off. You know what I mean? It's like, instead of like no trail at all to the Portland Bridge, and they're just like, oh, sorry, you missed your chance again, we don't have money to cantilever. If we have a trail up until the point till we can't, and then just after, you know, starting again, there could be a much higher public push to like actually complete that when PennDOT's like, oh yeah, we're redoing the road. Do you think there's something like, I don't know.
That's an excellent question. That was my first meeting. We're meeting again on Thursday, I think,
Okay.
next week.
Ian, I think this work's already been done by Stu Cooper a few years ago. There was a concept drawing of what would happen, and I thought Sue had said at the time that the borough, that was presented to PennDOT, and it was part of their 10-year plan at that point, and that was a few years ago. So a lot of that, I've seen the concept drawings for the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it on, it looks great.
There's a plan that was done about 10 years ago.
About 10
Oh,
years.
11 years now.
Right.
I guess, I'm even thinking of something, you know, you make it official, right? It's like nothing was done, it's just the road. But if you like actually have a name to it, and there's like a little sign, and it's just like, you know, none of the construction was done, it actually puts a name and a product there. I'm just curious, you know what I mean? Instead of just a little bit more of a push, I just hate to see PennDOT like skip over it again.
Yeah, we should bring that up at the meeting coming up.
I think they
There's
mentioned,
another
that-
meeting.
they mentioned at the last meeting that PennDOT is starting to put trail signs, or someone affiliated is starting to put trail signs in different areas in this area. And the Liberty Trail is also the 9/11 trail.
Yep.
And a lot of that is already pieced together throughout Pennsylvania, Maryland, and elsewhere. And that has a lot of attention apparently from, what's his name, Nick? Yeah, whoever had called into the meeting, he's very involved with it in Jersey, he's down in Maryland now.
Oh, Rusney.
Yeah, thank you, Rusney. And, so he said that there's growing attention, not just in Pennsylvania, but on the, you know, regional and larger scale about getting the 9/11 trail put together. So that's a nice way to kind of really push, is putting the pressure from that angle.
Well, I thank you all for supporting that, because all the voices and the people behind it and encouragement is the thing that gets things moved along. And I have seen the drawings myself, and it looks fantastic. I was hoping something could be done while it was already down, but we'll see what happens. I'm gonna move along. Planning Commission, anything?
No.
Zoning officer is not here. Was there anything new with COG, sir?
Yes, as a matter of fact.
Uh-oh.
New thing is I've attended the first meeting. One of the things that came up is the state of Pennsylvania is proposing an ordinance to override municipal zoning ordinances with concern of multifamily housing and low-cost housing. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is it only applies to municipalities over 5,000 people.
Okay.
So we're safe. Another thing that came up is John Motz approached me. Apparently, we have not been availing ourselves of grants available to the Monroe County Conservation District for roads, dirt and gravel roads and low volume roads, defined as a road that's used less than 500 times a day. Bobby was certified to deal with this, and nobody has been since. Unless you want to do it, I will volunteer to get myself certified, whatever it takes.
I'll accept your volunteering.
I thought you might.
And this certification is for?
Dealing with these grants.
With the grants, okay.
Which I understand are not very complicated.
Wayne, who's John Motz?
He's worked for the Monroe County District Conservation.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Got the highlights of it.
fantastic.
Wayne, did they mention at the meeting the donation that was made to the police department of $400?
They did not.
I mean, I wanna write a letter of thank you to COG for that, but, Chief Fisher told me that last week that he received a $400 donation to the police department.
Okay, good.
They've done that before in the past, always surprised us, so. Is there a specific person I should write that to, or?
Let's see, Mike Dwyer.
Mike Dwyer?
Yeah, he's president.
Okay.
Okay, with that said, we've talked about everything on here. Are there any public comments that are non-agenda related items and not from Tim? Yes, Terry?
Now, Mr. Snow.
Okay, that nothing. Yes, sir.
Well, after the one behind me here, I'm been getting, since the beginning of the year, I've been getting a number of questions from members and artist non-members regarding the status of the driveway. Our season opens in a few weeks, and it's been kind of an issue for some folks, so I'd like to know where things stand that you can tell to whatever degree.
There was some, settlement negotiations after the filing of the complaint in court. Those kind of quiet, like, just silenced, and so I've talked to Attorney Brown and requested they file an answer to the complaint to move the litigation along. So they will be filing an answer, and then that will get us into court for hearing, most likely.
So there was a deadline to file that?
By the I reached out to him, I spoke to him by phone, he asked for 2 weeks to the 20th.
The 20th of May?
Yes.
To file a response?
An answer. And I confirmed that date with him in email and also stated that, I hope that we can keep the status quo while the litigation is pending. I got your messages too about the lines and things. It seems like that may have to do with the ceiling that.
We think it may be seal coat, cause Jeff and I were there a week or two ago and saw a woman walking a surveyor wheel right up to our front door, which of course made us curious, and after we explained to her a little bit about the situation, she actually left, but then there were more folks the next day doing wheels, and so I think seal coating's involved possibly, but since the line itself is not very clear, I'm not sure where they think they can seal coat without, knowing where the end is, but. So, we open on the 24th and we have a private show on the 18th, and so we're gonna be in season again, so we're just gonna business as usual while this is going on.
So they were given until May 20th to file a response. And then what is the next move after that?
Then if there's any sort of discovery or motions that have to be done, and then it would be getting before a judge for a hearing.
Okay. Then it would go before a judge. Okay. And would that be immediately if they didn't respond, or?
If they didn't respond, then you can ask the court for a judgment, but I don't see that they won't respond.
Okay. All right.
Lisa?
Yes, sir.
Did anybody ever talk to Don Small about donating his driveway and the economic advantage to him of donating it?
That has not been a discussion. We're trying to go through this through our legal process now, and any other options is something that we discuss on the side, but not to this point, no. To this point, we're trying to maintain access to our historical property.
And I understand all of that, but having an alternate route is not necessarily bad, especially if you could give him economic incentive for doing it and maybe name the damn road after him.
That is a thought, and it wouldn't hurt to have an alternative route, and I agree with you on that. But at this point, we are not giving up our rightful access to the property.
Not a suggestion of giving up your access.
I hear you, I'm agreeing with you. It's an alternative, yes, we will take that in consideration.
Lisa, Tara Mezzanotte is here tonight. She's been bouncing back and forth to a bunch of different other meetings. And she's been messaging me, do I have time, do I have time?
Yes,
So I said, hurry.
please go ahead and
Yeah, so-
if you can go ahead, and then we can go into our executive session.
Yes,
'Cause it's-
so good evening, Tara Mezzanotte. I've been updating you in the past about the situation on I-80 with the New Jersey Department of Transportation. I have three things I'd like to do tonight. I wanna give you a quick update about what's happening right now, and I'm just gonna start there just to get this going quickly. A very good thing happened. The Pennsylvania State Historic Preservation Office and the New Jersey State Historic Preservation Office did not accept the New Jersey Department of Transportation's assessment of impacts to Mount Tammany for the retaining wall project. I've been here always talking about the Rockfall project. And I brought up last time that we now have two projects. The Rockfall project is one, and replacing the retaining wall is another. So they both have to go through similar processes. One of them is a visual impact assessment, and it assessment impacts to historical and cultural resources. I do have permission by the federally recognized tribes to mention that they, in this process related to the retaining wall, they did get to the point where they said they're not going to accept an assessment as complete until the DOT and their consultants take a step back and take a look at the entire Delaware water gap as a very likely, yet to be identified, traditional cultural property. So that is another designation within the National Park Service, and it's good. In addition, we have the rights, and wheels are in motion on this, to look at the whole Delaware water gap as a national natural landscape, national landmark, and a national historic landmark. The Delaware water, I mean, you are the Pocono tourism industry started here because of the Delaware water gap. So it all relates. I could talk for a while about it. It's interesting. It's been a long, I'm at the end of your meeting, not at the beginning. But I just wanted to let you know that this kind of thing is being discussed right now because of these projects. So the good news was that the Historic Preservation Offices didn't accept what was being said, and they heard what many of us, Knowlton, Hardwick, Warren County, what we did in our response to their input is we brought up the fact that they didn't include all of the previously included boroughs and municipalities for the Rockfall project. That should have just transferred right over to the retaining wall project, because we all care for the exact same reasons. So we flagged them on that, and they got dinged. So there's a meeting that's happening. Larry would have gotten the information on it, and through Allison as well. So May 13th, it's 1:30 to 3 o'clock. It's virtual. I have a responsibility to let you know that you will be represented by Congressman Cartwright's office. Representative Brown herself is probably going to be there, if not somebody from her office, but she's very interested in being there. Representative Probst, the Monroe County Historic Association, is that what they're called in the borough? Amy's going to be there because that's the wheelhouse. They'll be able to write a comment about this, as well as your Monroe County representatives. And others are going to be there. Smithfield, Middle Smithfield, Stroud Township, Stroud Borough, and both sides of the river. So on that note, I wanted to be here and let you know that's happening. I sent an email to Jeff about it, by the way. That's you.
That's me.
I sent you an email. Did you get this email?
I did get it.
Excellent. I love when the system works. So, you know you can come because that's in your wheelhouse. So get back to me on that. So I wanted to be here tonight to make sure I found the Jeffs. because how this will wind up relating, and it'll be interesting because when PennDOT does get to the projects that are in the tip to replace and rehab 611 because of that wall, the wall that's failed, when they get to that, when they get to the actual rockfall mitigation, phase 2 of the project, which is addressing mitigation on the slope now, they're gonna have to do that. We're talking right now about just the emergency getting it open. But when they get to the planned part of the project, it's gonna have to go through this exact same process I'm talking about that's been going on the Jersey side because they have to follow the same laws. So by attending the meeting, you're gonna get a preview about all of it, really. So I wanted to let you know that's happening. Second thing is, I've been appointed liaison for Knowlton Township, Hardwick Township, Smithfield Township, Portland, Lower Mount Bethel, and Upper Mount Bethel to be liaison to the New Jersey Department of Transportation, and in their cases to PennDOT as well. It's not, especially when it comes to PennDOT, it's not in place of any of you that are already meeting with them on things. It's because what happens on one side of the river happens on the other. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
okay, so what that enabled us, my husband and we had been providing technical resources, because this is his industry, to Knowlton and Hardwick Township, so our mayors could do this, but they retired out. So since they left, and because this is all heating up like it is right now, the township said, you know what, I'm available, it just makes it so efficient, and it helps me be so much more effective for you. I do want to ask if you would consider the same, and if you would, that means I would draft a resolution for you to have for your next meeting. It's really based on all the other ones. Yes.
So based on what you said,
Yes.
is it your impression that once they start doing work on 611, that they would do the road all in one shot?
No.
with
So
these-
if I may, so how these things work, it's in the tip, and it's many years away when they would do the walk. It's not as simple as this gentleman would want it to be. It's just not possible for them to do these projects or do the trail at the same time. There's years of development and engineering that goes on. So no.
What about the road itself? I mean, would they? Because right now you have a road where it's actually splitting down the middle.
So unfortunately, the reality of that is that addressing that issue is in the tip as a future project.
Wow.
It's not even in preliminary engineering.
Okay.
They haven't identified funding for it.
Right. Okay.
So, but if you allow me to be your liaison, I mean, I've been communicating with PennDOT on the issues going on, fortunately through others, but it gets me the opportunity to ask these kind of questions that we know to ask because my husband designs and builds these kind of things.
Thank you.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for the update, and we will definitely take that into
So
consideration.
Tara's been on point of this since they started the Jurassic Wall.
Yeah, I've seen all the communications.
And she's been back and forth and going all over the place. She's dead in the middle of this stuff. So if you were considering somebody like that,
She's the one.
She's
the one.
So, by motion, would you accept a draft resolution for consideration for the next?
Let us talk about it, and we'll.
So you'll let me
we'll
know?
We'll contact you,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
we're
you're
not
gonna
gonna
have
make a
your chat.
decision on that right now, but thank you so much.
Okay, so I wait to hear from you.
yeah, okay. I'll reach out. Yeah.
Very good.
But thanks for taking the time to come in. I know you were running around you were where, Mount
Updating
Bethel and Portland?
Up Lower Mount Bethel.
Yeah, you were all over the place
This is my
tonight.
first time I've done 3 meetings in one night.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our world.
Yes. Mr. Snow. Real quick, cause we gotta get to the executive section. Your tax dollars are paying for this meeting, come on.
You're interrupting me.
Minute and a half, you're out.
So I just wanna say, you know, I thought that Chris had done a good job when he was here, and he really did, but I really think Kelly Callan is doing an awesome job.
Sir, we do not compare employees, but we love him too, yes.
Well,
We compare them for
I
you.
think Chris did a great job too.
We,
but Kelly
yes,
really
thank
is
you,
doing a nice job.
thank you,
Yeah.
and we
Thank you.
appreciate that,
Appreciate
hearing
it.
that from the community. Thank you.
Second.
If nothing,
I got 3 things here. Oh, gee, they're quick.
go ahead.
The newsletter. I just wanna say it's refreshing to open up the newsletter and not have some campaign bullshit on it.
So I'm doing a good job.
You're doing a good
Yes.
job, yeah.
Okay, what's your third thing?
The third thing is EMC. Is there consideration to bring Darren back to that?
We haven't discussed it yet.
I mean,
We haven't
we-
gotten that far yet, we haven't even accepted the resignation yet.
Did you ever get the letter of, removal? Yeah, from
From the
2 years ago?
No.
The governor appoints does the, management, the emergency management person. There's a letter that the governor provides to,
It's a letter of recommendation, or not recommendation,
resolution or
yeah,
something,
yeah.
Okay, well,
I
listen.
believe they think Brad was still, when I was on council, I think we got a letter that Brad was, and that may still what they have on there, I'm not sure.
Brad and Darren.
I think Darren had
Correct.
one, yeah.
Darren got the
We'll have the mayor look
I was
into it.
referring to a letter that they removed from Borough
Oh,
Council.
I don't know about that.
Darren.
I don't wanna put the fourth thing, so wrap this up, right?
Yeah, no.
Wrap it.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your input and participation. At this point, we are going to go into executive session.
Are you coming back to vote after that on
Let me see
anything?
if there's anything to vote on in executive session.
Possibly.
Possibly a motion.
I don't know, I just said that, I don't know.
I know you did it, when you said, with the way you said it, I was like, let me wait for Lisa here. All right, we can wait out front.
Thank you all. Good to see you.
You have to adjourn your meeting.
No,
We're going into
We have to
executive.
adjourn this session.
take a motion to enter executive